This slide introduces quality control of the count matrix. Our goals are to retain only high-quality, true cells and to flag failed samples for removal or rescue. Key challenges include distinguishing low quality from simple cells and setting thresholds that protect rare but biologically important populations. Here we review cell counts per sample. Comparable numbers of cells in control and stimulated conditions indicate consistent capture efficiency. Large discrepancies at this step could signal technical issues such as variable loading, library prep failures, or sequencing depth imbalances. Next, we examine UMI counts per cell. The density curves for control and stimulated samples should largely overlap. We apply a lower UMI threshold to remove droplets with insufficient transcripts, which are likely empty droplets or dying cells, while retaining cells with robust expression. We then assess the number of genes detected per cell. Cells with very few genes are typically low quality or doublets filtered by upstream steps. A minimum gene threshold helps exclude these while preserving cells with diverse transcriptional profiles that are informative for downstream analyses. Mitochondrial count ratio is a key stress indicator. Elevated mitochondrial RNA suggests damaged or dying cells. We visualize the distribution across samples and set an upper cutoff. Cells exceeding this ratio are removed to prevent stressed states from dominating clustering and interpretation. This joint plot shows how UMI counts, detected genes, and mitochondrial ratio interact. Vertical and horizontal lines mark UMI and gene thresholds, while color encodes mitochondrial content. Together, these filters define a high-quality subset of cells for both control and stimulated conditions. After QC, we normalize and remove unwanted variation. Starting from sequence reads, we generate a count matrix, filter cells using quality metrics, and then normalize expression while regressing out technical effects. This pipeline ensures that downstream analyses reflect true biology. The goal of normalization is to identify and mitigate unwanted variation, such as differences in sequencing depth. We scale gene expression values so cells become comparable. A key challenge is correcting for technical covariates without inadvertently removing genuine biological signals. Cell cycle is a major source of unwanted variation. Cells in G1, S, G2, and M phases show distinct expression programs. We compute phase scores for each cell using canonical markers. This allows us to quantify cell cycle heterogeneity and decide whether it should be regressed out. Here, PCA colored by cell cycle phase reveals strong separation of G1, S, and G2M cells. This indicates that cell cycle effects dominate the principal components. In such cases, we consider regressing out these scores so that clustering reflects cell identity rather than cell cycle state. After regressing out cell cycle effects, the PCA plot shows phases well mixed. Cell cycle heterogeneity no longer drives the main axis of variation. This adjustment helps ensure that downstream clustering and differential expression focus on biologically relevant cell types and states. Normalization converts raw counts into comparable expression measures. We then apply scaling and appropriate transformations, such as log or variance stabilizing methods. These steps reduce technical noise and prepare the data for dimensionality reduction and clustering analyses. SC Transform is a modern approach for normalizing RNA Seq UMI data. It fits a regularized negative binomial model to account for sequencing depth and can incorporate additional covariates. The resulting residuals provide variance-stabilized, normalized expression for each transcript. Our recommendations are to always explore potential sources of unwanted variation, such as mitochondrial content or cell cycle. Only correct when a clear effect is observed, and maintain expectations about likely cell types and differentiation states to guide interpretation. With QC and normalization complete, we proceed to clustering. The workflow now extends from sequence reads through count generation, filtering, and regression of unwanted variation, culminating in clustering to identify transcriptionally distinct cell populations. Clustering aims to define cell type-specific groups and assign biological identities using marker genes. We must also determine whether clusters reflect real cell types or technical artifacts. Challenges include recognizing low-quality clusters and iteratively refining cluster resolution. To cluster cells, we first build a k-nearest neighbor graph in PCA space. Edges connect cells with similar expression profiles, and edge weights are refined based on shared neighborhoods. Community detection on this graph then yields robust, data-driven cell clusters.